On Wednesday at noon, the funeral for Shalom founding member Robert Parmasek began, with 3 representatives of the Great Lakes Naval Base folding the American flag and sounding taps. I watched, as I always do, with my hand over my heart. It touches me every time I see it, when the flag is draped over the casket and then brought to attention, covering the whole area. And then tightly it's folded, one fold at a time, starting with the stripes, ending with the stars, tucked in the corners carefully, with precision, and then saluted in all directions, then given to the commanding officer, who makes the presentation to the family. It touches me every single time I see it. It moves me to tears. The American flag has stood as a symbol of freedom and justice for over 225 years. Through wars and in times of peace, the sight of the American flag has given notice to foes and assurances to friends that democracy lives. No other symbol captures the power and glory of our nation like the American flag. Flags are the most powerful artifact ever designed. They're powerful because they're visible symbols of our identity. I watched the flag get folded for Bob and get handed to his family. On behalf of this country, we present this flag to you on behalf of a grateful nation for your loved one's distinguished service. At the end of the service, I returned to my car and I drove up the street. I was overdue for an oil change, so I pulled into the car dealer out in Arlington Heights. And I said, "Sure, I'll wait, I have an hour." And I walked into the empty waiting room. CNN was announcing breaking news. And the very first image I saw was the flag. Not the flag that was just beautifully folded and given to the Parmaseks, but the American flag being taken down, desecrated before my very eyes. Flags were everywhere. There were large election banners, battle colors from the American Civil War. There were Trump flags, there were neo-Nazi flags, there were smatterings of national and state flags, and yes, there was even Confederate flags, replacing the flags that adorn the temple of our democracy, the Capitol building. I pulled up my mask, I sunk into the chair, and I watched in utter disbelief. As a student of history, I've come to see that monuments in our nation's capital are symbols of freedom, hope, honor, decency, and pride. Democracy is complicated. Democracy can be messy. On Wednesday, it was bloody. But with courage and strength, democracy will be born and reborn again and again. The majority of us, Democrats and Republicans, want and will continue to strive to live up to the ideals of our forebears when they created our great nation, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. The United States is still a young nation, a work in progress, a fragile nation, and one that we must do everything we can to protect. We can't let hatred continue to divide us. May Wednesday and the events in the Capitol be a turning point, a moment of change that can bring us together. I am sad, and yet I believe that the best days are still ahead of us. Now is the time to deepen our love for our country and our desire to serve it. Now is the time to strengthen our power of self-sacrifice for its welfare. Now is the time to uphold its good name by its own right conduct. Now is the time for all good people to come to the aid of our country. It's up to us, we the people. 3.5 years ago, Rabbi Phyllis and I, during our joint sermon on Rosh Hashanah, stirred the pot when we talked about a small little book by Yale historian Timothy Snyder called On Tyranny. We gave out 1,800 copies of the book. It was by far our most viewed sermon ever, and it's still on our website if you'd like to watch it. What we said that morning is equally compelling today, almost prophetic. Reasonable as it may be to be afraid, hunkering down is not the choice we should be making. I hope our voices are bold and unwavering in the commitment to the inherent worth and dignity of all people. I want to believe we said that day and we reiterate now. I want to believe we can do more than just benefit from our democracy, but actually care for it, even when it fails to embody the best of its potential. We said then, we've been saying for 3.5 years. Whatever political party, whatever political opinion, whatever background, we who value democracy can actually act on its behalf for our sake and for the sake of the generations who will come after us. We concluded with Timothy Snyder's words. He reminds us with chapters in this book, do not obey in advance, be patriotic. Don't panic and fall into conformity. Don't give up your values. Defend institutions. Speak out, speak your truth, even if you feel alone. And chapter 18, be calm when the unthinkable occurs. And the final chapter, be as courageous as you can. Friends, America still is beautiful. Every inch is sacred from sea to shining sea. Wednesday will long be remembered as a stain in our history, but it will also remind us that the light of the American ideals of equality, peace, freedom, and justice can overcome the shadows of our darkest moments. The fact that our representatives and our senators went back into that building and finished their important work, and their aides were right there with them, and the building was secure. Democracy can be shaken, but it can't be broken. America isn't perfect, and it isn't always united. But as James Madison once said, the happy union of these states is a wonder, their constitution a miracle, their example the hope of liberty throughout the world. I'm still incredibly proud, honored, humbled every time I see this flag. It's the most important artifact ever designed. It is the symbol of our identity. With light come shadows, and with freedom come sacrifices. And at the end of the day, at the end of every day, America is still beautiful, flaws and all, from sea to shining sea. And so when we ended that sermon on the high holidays in the social hall, Cantor Markowitz and the choir sang, America the Beautiful. People stood with the greatest of pride, as we do tonight, in our country, flaws and all, from sea to shining sea.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies lives forever.